Well, hello and welcome to my channel. Hope it's not raining. I assume that if you're watching this video, it may be, or maybe not, but it may be that you are browsing the internet to find some insights or infos about how to find a job in Paris. Well, if that's the case, we do have a lot in common then, because exactly 1 year ago, I was like you. 1 year ago, I officially took the decision to move to Paris, so I started browsing online every single possibility, chance, way I could find to be able to find a job in Paris that could allow me to actually move to Paris. So exactly 1 year after I took that decision, I am living in Paris and I have a job in a Paris-based company and I completely changed my life. So I thought that a nice way to celebrate this kind of 1 year anniversary since that decision could be to create a video where I go super in depth explaining the exact strategy that I did put into place in order to find a job in Paris. So let's get right into it. Let's give a little bit of context here. I am Vittoria, I am an Italian girl, and exactly 1 year ago, I took the decision to move to Paris. Now, this is not a decision that I took in a couple of days. It's something I have been thinking about for a few years. I kept keeping this idea in a corner of my head. I had no friends living in Paris, no family member living in Paris. I had no work connections in Paris. Like, for me, finding a job was the first step in order to provide for myself because I was about to leave the job that I had in Italy, my friends, my family, everything I knew, and going towards the unknown. So the reason why I decided to do this video is exactly for that 1 year ago version of me that was reading every single website article, watching every video vlog that could find on the internet to find out how to actually be able to find a job in Paris and put into place a strategy. There were so many moments where I felt overwhelmed, frustrated, insecure. So many times I second-guessed myself and my decision, but the desire was stronger. Was it easy? Absolutely not. Not even close to easy. I'm gonna be very honest in this video. A lot of things I didn't know how to handle them, and I just learned how to do them. And so I thought that sharing my experience and sharing what I did could be helpful for someone out there. Little spoiler in here, all these videos based on my experience as an Italian citizen, meaning that I'm a European Union citizen and I can freely work in every European Union country. If you're watching this video from an international environment or you need specific authorizations or permits, I highly recommend you go and check what documents you need in order to be allowed to move and work in France. That being said, let's get right into the how to find a job in Paris strategy. Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen with the live. So, first thing, the resume. I highly recommend you take a look at your resume, update it, add all the latest skills that you acquired, because sometimes we don't realize how many skills we gain even in just 1 month of work, because maybe we handled the new project and we didn't consider how many skills we acquired that we could actually place in our resume, even though we think it's updated. The very first thing that I got asked a lot when I moved here was, do you need to speak French in order to move to France? The answer is yes, but also no. Of course, speaking French, it's going to increase the possibilities for you to find a job in Paris, but it's not mandatory. There are so many companies that inside the job offer explicitly write if French is required or not. Sometimes they write English is required and French is a plus, meaning that you can absolutely apply for that position. If you don't speak French, I highly recommend you make sure you can highlight other skills that you have in order to make sure that the skills that you have that you could provide to the company are more important than the fact that you don't speak French. Just to be clear, nothing in this video is going to be sponsored. I have no sponsorships with these companies that I am mentioning, and I am going to mention because it's only really based on my experience and what I did to find a job in Paris and the platforms that I browsed to find a job in Paris. But let's go back to the the strategy. So you have your resume with the content in place. You need a nice way to present a resume. Of course, the most important thing in the resume is the content. The recruiter are going to read the content. But of course, a nicely presented and aesthetically pleasing resume is not going to harm you. It's going to be helpful. What did I do to make my resume aesthetically pleasing? I purchased a template on Etsy. Etsy, for whoever doesn't know, is an online market with so many products, and there are physical products but also digital products, and there are templates for literally every need you may have in your life. But one of the most interesting things is that they also sell resume templates, and the cool thing is that you can find templates from like 50 cents to 10 euros, 20 euros, depending on how much you can afford and you want to spend on a template. The cool thing is that once you find a template that you like, you purchase it, download it, and in the folder you not only have the resume template, but you also have usually the reference contacts page and then the cover letter template, and then you also have a folder with the fonts that are used in that template. So Etsy could be super useful if you want to browse around and find some templates that could be cool. But also Canva is super useful. I have been using Canva a lot. The cool thing about Canva is that you also have access to a completely free section where you can really find some very nice template and directly edit the template in Canva and then save it as a PDF. So I highly recommend you take a look at that because that could be very, very useful. Let's not forget that PowerPoint is always there. So if you have access to an Office package and you have PowerPoint, you can absolutely use it, and you can play around with shapes and elements, icons, graphics that you can insert. And of course, if you're capable of using the Adobe Suite, or if you have access to the Adobe Suite, InDesign, Illustrator, Photoshop, those are amazing tools that you can use and that will allow you to have a very impactful resume that can step up the game for you. You don't need your resume to be extremely amazing. Like my resume was a very basic one, but it was clean, nice. Just go for it. Browse around, browse the internet. Where were we? Now you have your resume is ready, it's amazing. You have your English resume, you have your French resume, you speak French, you have the resume in French, you don't speak French, you just have the resume in English. It's time to set up LinkedIn. LinkedIn can really be your best friend if used correctly and if you really take advantages of the possibilities it offers. At least for me, it was my best friend because it was exactly through LinkedIn that I found a job in Paris. In order to set up LinkedIn and make it your best friend, I would highly recommend you make a list. Make a list of all the different variations your role could have. We can be versatile. We're changing country. We're changing life. Why not even changing our job title? But whatever, make a list of all the different roles you're going to apply for and write them down, and then make the same exact list but translated in French. Because a lot of French companies publish the job offers with the role in French. You can just browse online and try to get information about how your role is usually mentioned in France, or you can use translate platforms. But I highly recommend you pay attention to the platforms because sometimes online translators are not 100% reliable. We've all been there. Personally, I use DeepL, which is very professional. It allows you to have a very professional translation, but also it gives you usually 2 to 3 options for your translations. Also, what you could do is you can take the French translation and then browse online and see if it actually corresponds to the role you're looking for. Now that you have your 2 lists, you can set up your LinkedIn. You can open LinkedIn, go on the job icon, and then you will see that it opens up a section with 2 research bars. One is for the job title or the role you're looking for or the company you're looking for, and one is for the geographical location. So what you want to do is you insert the first role you placed on your list, and you place Paris as the city you're looking for, and then you will see that all the job offers for that specific role open in Paris are going to appear on the screen. Now, together with that, you will see that a blue bar pops out and will ask you if you want to activate a notification for this specific job research. From now on, every single day, you will be notified from LinkedIn every single time a new job offer is going to be posted for that specific role in that specific city. Now, LinkedIn usually offers 2 options to apply. One is the easy apply, which is amazing because once you have your resume saved in a PDF version on your phone, you can directly send out the applications. Then a lot of job offers will require a more in-depth application. So you would just see the apply icon, meaning that usually they will redirect you either on the company's website, either on other recruiting platforms that will require you take a little more time in order to fill in all the blank spaces, which is exactly what I hated the most. I have to be very honest. Like every single time I saw only the apply bar, I was so frustrated because it takes a lot. It's super time consuming. Why do I need to fill it out again and again and again? But whatever, this is what it is. So what I can suggest is save. Whenever I was on the go, I was outside, I was not having actually the time to focus on filling out all the requirements. I saved them, and then when I was at home in the evening, I sat down in front of my computer and I opened up all the saved job offers and I filled out every single field they required, and then I sent it out. So this is LinkedIn. Just as a tip, if you have two versions of your resume, the English one and the French one, and you're wondering which one do I have to send out when I see a job offer, what I have been advised years ago by a recruiter was that usually the language in which the job offer has been written is the language of the resume. So if the job offer is written in English, you are probably allowed to send out the resume in English. If the job offer is in French, you have to send out the resume in French. Now, it's not like that every time, because sometimes inside the job offers, it's explicitly, we can stay here all day. It's explicitly written if you are allowed to send out the resume in English and in French, or if they require a specific language. But if not, if nothing is written, usually the language of the job offers is the language of the resume. So this is a tip that has been shared with me a long time ago, so hopefully this helps. LinkedIn, it's not going to be the only platform that you can use, and I highly recommend you not only focus on LinkedIn, because there are so many other platforms that you could take advantage of to maximize your chances to find a job in Paris. So the second platform that I highly recommend you take a look at is Pôle Emploi. So Pôle Emploi is literally the employment center, and it's handled by the French government. So I'm very quickly going to the Pôle Emploi website just to show you how the whole website is structured and the type of services it makes available to you. As you can see, the homepage is very user-friendly. The first thing placed there is the research bar where you can place the role and the geographic location. Here you are shown all the services offered by the Pôle Emploi that I recommend you go and look at specifically. And then there's a whole series of articles related to current topics on the working environment in France. So certainly content that can be very interesting. Then here at the top, you have the menu bar where you can see that there is a list of sections dedicated to any kind of topic, question, or need you may have throughout your research phase. So here I must make an important distinction. In fact, one thing is to register to the Pôle Emploi. Another thing is to create a personal account on the Pôle Emploi website. And they are different because in order to register to the Pôle Emploi, you have to comply with a whole series of conditions indicated by law, which I invite you to check on the official website or by contacting the French Employment Center directly. Because as soon as you comply with these conditions and can therefore register, you will have access to a whole series of benefits, advantages, and services that the Pôle Emploi makes available. On the other hand, if your purpose is to evaluate the job offers that are published on the Pôle Emploi website to submit your application, you can create a personal account on the Pôle Emploi website, which is therefore a different thing. However, to give you an idea, you can go on the space dedicated to candidates, you click on the Rights and Aid section, and you will see that there's a whole series of articles related to this specific topic. And if you go and look for information on, for example, your personal situation, you will find another series of articles, such as, for example, here, this one, which is the one that interests us. I'm a foreign worker. Can I register to the Pôle Emploi? So here you can really find a whole range of very useful information on what rights you have and whether or not you can register, for example, also with a distinction between European and non-European citizens, what documents you need and other specific situations. So as you can see here, the Pôle Emploi tells you that there is a precise list of conditions stated by law to be able to register to the Pôle Emploi, which I invite you to go and read, because if you are planning to register, you must be aware of all the rights and all the conditions that need to be respected. But above all, it is the Pôle Emploi itself that tells you that even if you cannot register to the Pôle Emploi, you can still create a candidate space to access job offers by connecting to the personal area on the website poleemploi.fr. So when you click on the link, you see that it sends you to the section to create your personal area and then proceed with the submission of applications when there are job offers that might be interesting for you. So I highly recommend you go and check the conditions that you have to meet in order to register to the Pôle Emploi or to create an account on the Pôle Emploi website, so that you can be sure that you meet all the conditions and be allowed to expand in this way your job research as much as possible. But going back to the Pôle Emploi website, let's just take a look at the different types of content that are offered, and above all, understand how the job research section is structured. So first, let's take a quick look at the content section. As you can see here, for example, you have the section dedicated to a whole series of current topics like articles, podcasts, newsletters. So definitely interesting content that can also be divided, for example, by region in case you want to go into specific areas. And then there is the Pôle Emploi TV section that gives you access to a whole series of very interesting videos where you can go and find further insights. Okay, next, let's take a look at how to look for a job on the Pôle Emploi website. So as you can see, the job research section allows you to make a research where either you enter the role for which you're looking for and the location where you're looking for, or it allows you to have a look at all the different sectors that the Pôle Emploi lists below. If you open one, for example, let's open finance, banking, and insurance, you can see that it opens up a list where all the roles related to that specific sector are filtered. So in this case, we can open a random one, like here, the first one, management controller, and you see that it opens up all the job vacancies currently open for the position of management controller. Now, we have not yet filtered with the city, so we're going to insert Paris in order to narrow down our research even more. And here you see that we now have an overview of all the job offers for that role in Paris. As a side note, here at the top, you see that it asks you if you want to see only the Pôle Emploi offers. And if you then click on the question mark, a whole list of partners or recruiting agencies that collaborate with the Pôle Emploi for job offers opens up. And I'm telling you this because it could be very useful for you to go and take a look at this list in order to have an additional list of recruiting agencies that maybe you had not thought about or that you didn't know about and that you could take into consideration, because often some of these recruiting agencies have websites or platforms dedicated to job research where you could go and even there check if there are job offers related to what you're looking for. Anyways, back to our offers, let's take a look at one just to give you an example. So as you see here on the side next to the title of the job offer, it tells you what type of contract it is. So for example, CDI if it's a permanent contract, or a CDD if it's a fixed term contract. Again, we open a random one like this one, management controller, and here as you can see you have the entire explanation of the job offer with all the various tasks, the profile they're looking for, if and what degree is required. Okay, so here with regards to the level of education, be aware that when a degree or qualification is required, it tends to be indicated based on the French education system. So always go and see what that specific qualification corresponds to based on your country or your study path. The other interesting thing inside the job offer is this box where you are given important information about that specific offer, such as the type of contract, in this case, a permanent contract, the weekly working hours, and as you can see, it's indicated 35 hours because in France, the legal weekly working time for a full-time contract is set at 35 hours per week. So it will be normal to read job offers with a weekly working time set at 35 hours. But of course, as always, there are exceptions. So be aware that based on the type of company contract or the collective agreement, the hours could be different. So they could be lower or higher. And this is something that you always have to check either with the recruiter
either with the company directly or on the various contracts. And finally, you're given an indication about the expected salary for this job position. In this case, it's indicated a monthly gross between 2,900 and 3,000 spread on 12 monthly payments. And then it tells you that the lunch tickets are also included in the offer. So this is a bit of an overview of what a job offer published on the Pôle Emploi website might look like. So when you find an offer that might suit you, you can apply by clicking on Postuler. It will then ask you whether you want to log into your reserved area or if you want to create a new one. So based on what you have already done or not, you can decide how to proceed. Or you can save the job offer as a favorite in case you maybe want to keep it there for a while and think about it. Or you can share it with someone who you know has a profile that might fit that role. So there it is. This was a more in-depth overview on how to look for a job on the Pôle Emploi website, which again, I recommend you go and browse through because it could be a very useful tool, both in terms of personal and professional knowledge, but also to go and study all the limitations and conditions you have to respect in order to be able to register and or to create your personal area.
I just want to give you another tip in here. If after starting to send out your resume, you start receiving feedbacks from recruiters that are interested in your profile and would like to organize a first call in order to understand your profile better, don't panic. Don't panic. I did because I was not prepared. It was a dream, it was in my head, I had all the strategy planned, I was sending out resume, but then when I received the first emails from recruiters, I panicked because I realized, oh, okay, am I doing it for real? Am I really doing this interview? Am I really ready to leave everything I know behind? Just don't panic. It's a good thing. It's a good thing, and nobody is forcing you to sign anything. It's just a first interaction, and it's actually going to be super useful for you to have a first interaction with a French recruiter, not only to put yourself outside of your comfort zone, but to see how you handle an interview with a recruiter coming from a different country in a different language. So it's a training. Just keep it as a training. Maybe you're not ready to actually move. Maybe it's not the company you want to work for. It doesn't matter. Just do it. Go for it because it's a way to train. Because how many times, or at least that happens to me all the time, but maybe the problem is me. We do a job interview and then we spend the hours after complaining about how we could have done better, how we could have explained certain things better, how we forgot to say something important. So that's why it's important to keep training. And so if you start receiving some feedbacks, amazing. Just do the job interview, challenge yourself and see how it goes, because that literally allows you to keep training and be prepared for when the interview you were waiting for is going to present itself and is going to knock on your door. So just go for it and don't panic. Another website which is very much used in France is Welcome to the Jungle. It's actually a super cool website. It's used a lot. It's a very dynamic, young, and cool website where you can find job offers, but it also has media section. So they write articles about the most recent innovations, the most recent openings, and also they have very useful tips on how to prepare for a job interview, what to do, what not to do. So it's definitely a website that I have browsed and it's been very helpful for me, so I highly recommend you take a look at it because you can find some very, very useful tips and insights on the French market. The light is going away. No matter what, we go on. And then other three websites that are highly used in France are first Le Bon Coin. Again, I'm gonna place every link in bio. So Le Bon Coin is a platform which has a lot of different goals. It sells furniture for your home, it sells clothes. You can also find a lot of home listings, but the very important thing that is very useful for you at this stage is the job research section. So Le Bon Coin has a section fully dedicated to the job research, and again, you can set it up and make sure that you don't miss any job offer published in Paris. Together with Le Bon Coin, other websites you can browse and take a look at are Hello Work, Indeed.com, and Jubel. Now, these three websites are very similar one to another. You open them and you will see that the first thing you find is the research bar where you can place the role you're looking for and the city you're looking for. And then all the job offers will appear. So what I highly recommend is you create a profile in this website, because if you create a profile and you upload your resume, it's going to be easier to send out your application every day, so that every single day you know that you have your daily browse around of job offers that have been published. Now, there are three other options that you could consider in order to find a job in Paris, and that I have considered. The first one is Workaway. For whoever doesn't know, Workaway is a website, actually a very cool platform, because basically it's based on some sort of exchange. I want to be very clear here. It's absolutely normal. With Workaway, people that post the job offers, they need someone to take care of a specific job, and in exchange for that, either they provide a room, either they provide a studio, either they provide just the meals. But the main job offers you will find on Workaway are based on this sort of exchange. So one of the most common job offers on Workaway is working for a farm, meaning that, for example, there's a farm in the French countryside that needs someone to help them with farm-related works, maybe during the season, and they offer in exchange to provide the room, the meals, and so you will not have to pay a rent, you will not have to pay for your food. That's usually the most common kind of job offer you can find on Workaway. But on Workaway, there are so many job offers of so many different kinds, even in Paris.
Families who post offers where they offer room and board in exchange for, I don't know, someone to teach them a certain language, or people who maybe post an offer because they need to do some specific work around the house, such as repairing the roof or fix the floor, and they offer room and board to anyone willing to help them with these tasks. So take a look around the website, because there can really be so many different types of job offers that might suit you if you are thinking about, or if you want to do an experience like this one.
Then, for whoever has specific skills in the hotel and restaurants world, there is a platform absolutely dedicated to you, which is Hotellerie-Restauration. The French accent. It's a platform absolutely dedicated to people that works in the hotel and restaurant world, or that would love to work in the hotel and restaurant environment. So that's a platform that you can absolutely check out, because they constantly post job offers to hire waiters, waitresses, cooks, receptionists, so many different options linked to the hotel and restaurant world. So I would highly recommend you take a look at that, because it could be another chance for you if you do have skills in that environment, or if you want to gain, or if it's an environment that you would enjoy. And then finally, another platform that could be very useful, but it has a limit, which is an age limit, is Au Pair. The Au Pair platform is very well known because it's a platform that allows people between 18 and 26 years old, so you have to be in this age range, otherwise you cannot apply, to create a profile and find families that are in need of someone to babysit their kids. So if you have between 18 and 26 years old, and one of your goals is to move to Paris as an experience, or you would like to find something just to start, the Au Pair could be a solution, because the cool thing about the Au Pair service is that the family you're going to babysit the kids for provides the accommodation. So you will not have to worry about that, because you will not have to worry about finding a home. And usually they also cover the meals, and sometimes there's also salary, but that is something that you then define together with the family. But that's something that could also be very helpful for you in order to start and have a reason to move in here. Try to take a look around and understand if that's the city for you, if you like it, if you like to stay in here, and at the same time create some connections, useful connections, and maybe start looking for a job while you are already here. So that's something that you can absolutely evaluate, unlike me, because I was way out my 26 years old, so I could not evaluate the Au Pair option, but I'm gonna leave it to the young generation. I know that I have been speaking for quite a lot now, but I would like to tell you that there are two other options that you could consider, and that I myself tried when I was looking for a job. So the first option is asking for a company relocation. If you work for a company that has different branches abroad, and maybe they have one branch in France and maybe in Paris, what you could do is try to understand if there is space, if there is room for a company relocation request, meaning that you could try to evaluate the possibility of asking to your company to be moved to the Parisian branch. I know that a lot of people think that in order to ask for company relocation, you need to have a very specific reason, like, for example, that your partner has been moved abroad and you want to follow, or maybe it could be that you have a relative needs assistance, but it doesn't always have to be like that. You can ask for a company relocation even just because you want to do a life experience. You want to change country, you want to see what it's like to live in another country and challenge yourself personally and professionally. So this is something you could consider. But I want to say, if you decide to pursue this path and actually and concretely ask to your company to be relocated, you have to treat this request in a super professional way. Go prepared. You need to give the company a specific reason to move you and to relocate you, because you have to consider that if they accept, the company will need to take care of all the bureaucratic part, which, let me tell you, it's gonna be amazing. But this means that you have to give them a reason to take care of that. Do your homework, do your research. Is there a specific skill that you have that the French branch could benefit from? Is there something, a project that you've handled and that you could actually replicate for the French branch? Is there some specific area in the French market where you could be absolutely helpful in order to improve something that you could take care of that nobody is taking care of, and that could actually improve the revenue of that market? Do your research. Try to make a list of all the things you could be helpful and you could support the French branch with, and then make a list of the reasons why you are asking for this relocation. Because the first thing they are going to ask you is why? Why do you want to go there? And you have to be prepared. You don't have to panic, because sometimes all you would like to say is, I don't know why, I just want to move there. But they will need a reason. So you will need to give them a reason. And the reason could be because I think that this could be an incredible new challenge for me in order to challenge myself personally, professionally, to prove my skills in a different market, to step out of my comfort zone, to grow as a professional, to gain new skills, to improve the language, which could be helpful, to be the person of connection between the headquarters and the branch. So just brainstorm with yourself, track down a list, and be prepared to conquer your relocation. And finally, another option that I suggest and that I also evaluated at the time could be, depending on the country you're from or you live in right now, what you could do is make a list of all the major companies of your country and try to take a look at their websites and see which one of these companies has a Paris-based branch. Because sometimes when they post job offers for the Paris-based branch, they need or they would prefer to send someone from the country where the headquarters is in order to have someone speaking the same language of the headquarters. So that could also be an option you could evaluate. And again, in here, LinkedIn could be very useful because with the same job research process we saw before, when you click on the job icon and you open the job research, instead of filling out the role bar research, you can place the name of the company, you can type Paris as the city, and you will see all the job offers that that specific company has opened in Paris. This would also increase your chances to be taken into consideration because you are from the country where the headquarters is, so you speak the same language of the headquarters, and that could be super helpful for them to have a person speaking their same language but in the Paris-based branch. So this is it. I'm gonna stop talking now because I have been speaking for quite a long time. This is exactly the step-by-step strategy that I put into place when I decided that I needed to find a job in Paris. So this is every single website I browsed, every platform I created an account on, and I really wanted to share with you all the steps I took in order to find a job in Paris and the strategy that I put into place and that finally actually allowed me to find a job in Paris. So again, I really hope this video was helpful for you. I really hope this advice can help you in your job research process in Paris. From my side, I really send out all the positive energies that I can. But of course, if you do have more questions, if there are some topics that you would like to cover more in depth, just leave a comment and I will make sure to reply. And then of course, if this video was helpful for you, if you like the content, just click the like button, and most of all, subscribe to the channel in order to stay updated on when I will post my next video, which will be an insightful video on what happens right after. So what happens when you get contacted by a recruiter during the interview process, and most of all, when you receive a job offer. What to do and definitely not to do, that I wish I had known. So stay tuned and see you in my next video.